I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to those of you in town of Highlands at home. Public comment. Anyone like to speak before the meeting starts? No one? We'll move on to approval of the minutes of our last meeting, which would be July the 8th.
Thank you, June, for sending them electronically. I read them, I found no problems, so I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Talking about lights again tonight. Richie, I received a letter from Orange and Rockland having to do with street lighting options, and that's that 2% deal and what have you. Are you familiar with it, or would you like to look at the letter?
I didn't see the, I'm familiar with the program, but I didn't see that letter.
Yes, that.
Thank you.
I received a phone call from Connor Bergen, who represents New York State Job Order Contract, a company that, by the name of Gordon, Gordian. Now, what they do, I really don't know, but I made an appointment to sit down and talk with them. And Justin, you volunteered 9 o'clock Tuesday, the 30th of July. Do you have time?
I think I did.
Uh-oh.
That's fine.
This is what threw me, the opening paragraph. I'm reaching out on behalf of Jordan and the New York State Job Order Contract that we manage for municipalities and school districts to procure a variety of maintenance and construction projects from contractors that have already been awarded through the competitive bid process. I don't know what that means. There's a company called Sourcewell. Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
Okay, that's another company that does kind of the same thing. So we'll find out what they have to offer and see what it's all about. And anyone on the board that would like to join us, that's 9 a.m. on Tuesday, the 30th of July. I received an invoice through our controller on the Orange and Rockland streetlight refund received. They sent us a refund check of $15,791. They credited $2,403 on our last light bill is over.
I haven't seen the credit yet.
Okay, but they say that's what they credited us. And the consultants that did this for us, which took a long time, didn't it?
Yes.
We're talking maybe a year. They get 40% of what they saved us, which equals $7,200.
We're gonna hold up paying that until I see the credit on the bill.
Okay. The Orange County District Attorney's Office sent me a quite large letter. Did you get this also, Chief? You got this also, and I checked with the judges, they got this. So it's all the changes that they think, the New York State thinks they're doing that's going to help us out. It was explained to me that we built our court system, I don't mean just the town of Highlands, I mean at least Orange County, over a period of 40 years. And now in one big swoop, they're going to change everything and make it better. That's hard to imagine, but if anybody on the board would like a copy of this letter, I most certainly would copy it and put it in your box.
I'll take one.
You want a copy? Do you have one?
Sure, when you get around to
Okay,
it.
and
I'll take one.
yes, and of course you want one, Ty. Yes, absolutely. I received a letter from Rick Minicosi. I think that's how you say it. This is a gentleman that is going to do some work down at Penn Fed Building where he's buying up everything around it and what have you. Excepting, he's apparently changed his plans, and attached you will find an overview of my Highland Falls luxury hotel, which I am submitting a CFA application for. We would not be able to build a luxury hotel of this quality, scope, and scale in Highland Falls without the assistance of a grant from the Empire State Economic Development Fund. Instead, at best, we would need to scale the project back considerably to be just another limited-service hotel in Highland Falls, thus reducing the significant impact and value to the Hudson Valley provided by this luxury hotel as currently designed. I respectfully request your consideration to provide a letter of support for this project. Did I share this with everyone, the letter? I thought I did. No? Okay, I just got it July the 17th. I'll share it with everybody, and at our next meeting, we can decide if we want to do a letter of support. But he's changed from condominiums, or whatever it was he was going to build, apartments and what have you, and now he's doing a hotel. And he explains at length 2 pages of what he plans on doing there.
I went to the zoning board of appeals meeting back in April where he made the presentation on the plans at that time, which are going to be like 63 condos. So I'm familiar with that. I'm not familiar with the changes.
Oh, the big changes.
Is there a date on that?
Yeah,
For his, no, not of the letter, but for submitting his application?
no. there
Oh,
is no-
okay.
Financial reports, we paid out twice. Once, $222,979. That was on July 11th. Comp Alliance, $4,481 for multi-department assessment fee. That's on the compensation insurance. James Conley for a water pump in the 9/11 park, $3,142. Direct Energy, $2,838 for multi-department electric. Fusco Engineering for $2,893 for work on the sewer plant. H.O. Penn Machinery, $2,788 for the highway department, parts, supplies. Highland Falls Library, $61,590, which is their third quarter contribution. New York State Municipal Workmen's Compensation, $31,903 for compensation insurance. O&R Utilities, $5,480. That's electric delivery on multi-departments. $3,077 for streetlights. $2,403 for our auditor.
I think the auditors were the 10,000.
Pardon me?
The auditors were the 10,000.
Okay, the auditors were $10,000. Yeah, $24,000 was the streetlights. But that's the 2018 audit. Ryder, Wiener, and Rankel, $7,035 for legal services. Ross Valve Manufacturers, $3,451 for water District 2 service and repair. State Comptroller, $36,000 for the May court collected fines and fees. TAM Enterprises, $452 sewer contracted services. Tyson Group Elevator, $2,771 for annual maintenance. And Rockland County Solid Waste, $10,000 for sanitation landfill charges. Then we paid out $23,241 on July the 18th. Royal Carting got $2,360 for sanitation and landfill charges. Danziger and Markov, $3,575 for valuation. Four-Star Transmission, $3,418 for the Chief's Impala. TAM Enterprises, $3,034 for the TV truck on the 13-hour video inspection of the sewer lines. Any questions from the board on what we paid out? Liaison reports. June, we'll start with you.
Everything's going well in the departments that I am liaison to, but when the chief is ready to speak, I'm sure he'll fill us in on everything rather than me duplicating what he's going to say.
Okay. And I skipped over budget transfer request. Kelly, you didn't raise your hand to yell at me. We're transferring $400 from town clerk training to town clerk records management training. It was budgeted in the wrong account. Do I have a motion to make the transfer?
Motion.
Second by anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So this year, when you do your budget, you're going to get it in the right column?
Yes, for the wrong rate.
Okay.
We're going to transfer $3,000 from police supplies to police vehicle maintenance. Guess for what? I have a motion to make the transfer?
I'll make the motion to make that transfer, otherwise we would be down one police car. That wouldn't do.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. And we're going to transfer $1,000 from ambulance equipment to ambulance vehicle maintenance, brakes for the ambulance, which was not budgeted for. And we've been hitting it, the ambulance corps up pretty good with equipment, not equipment, but maintenance. Yeah.
I make the motion that we make the transfer for.
A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Ty, you're next up on reports.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Very briefly here, we have some activities for the senior citizens that's planned through the Center of Highland Falls. Starting on August the 15th, 2019, we have hiking the Appalachian Trail, Perkins Drive. Departure is 10 a.m. Thursday, August 15th. It's a free trip. Then secondly, National Senior Citizen Appreciation Day at the Center, which is Wednesday, August 21st, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., refreshments and health screenings, along with fun. Third, we have Senior Appreciation Luncheon at Little Richie's, Wednesday, August 21st, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., and it's $22 per person. Additionally, we have Resort World Casino Bus Trip, Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. It's an 8:15 a.m. departure, $20, and $25 give back in slot play. Two more activities are scheduled. Sight and Sound Theater Bus Trip to Pennsylvania, Thursday, November 7th, 2019. It's $145. There is a payment plan available. 8 a.m. Highland Falls departure, 5:30 p.m. return departure. And then the final thing we have here is the Art and Creation Museum, Cincinnati, Ohio bus trip, April 6th through 11th, 2020. It's $585, and there is a payment plan available. So those are all the upcoming activities for the seniors in the town of Highlands here, coordinated through the center of Highland Falls. And that's all I have.
I was sorting my papers out and I wasn't listening real hard.
It's okay.
But I have a question on the trip to the casino, whichever one it was. I think on the Channel 23, it says government issued
Photo ID.
photo ID. I would have to think, what does that mean, government issued? Right away, you think federal government or something like that. But what they're talking about is you need some kind of a photo ID that was issued by a government.
Right,
Right.
like your driver's license, state, that's a state.
So they're of
Yeah.
age to go to casino.
Right,
That's it.
so I would caveat to say valid photo ID.
All right, okay. Thank you, Ty.
You're welcome.
Did I hear
Rich?
you say Creation Museum?
Yes, you heard me to say Ark and Creation Museum.
That's, I'm not gonna get involved with religion and creationism here. Ken Ham is in charge of that. He's debated Bill Nye. It's a very interesting place.
Okay.
It has an $18 million replica of the Ark with animals on it that's 500 feet long. So,
Well,
everybody's
listen,
into
I
that.
appreciate that soliloquy. It sounds very interesting
It's
as
a
you
very
laid it out for me.
interesting 2-hour debate between Ken Ham and Bill Nye, if anybody wanted to watch it.
Well, maybe we'll schedule that for a upcoming event.
Okay, so back to germane things. The ZBA, I couldn't make the meeting last week. They only had one applicant. Usually they have to go to, I'm not if you're familiar with what they did.
I'm not.
Okay. I'm sure it'll require a public hearing next month, and I'll be making my best effort to attend that one. Building Department. Last Thursday, we had a meeting with the town engineer, Lankin Tully. Bruce came. The Building Department has a vacancy, which I think we're gonna fill pretty soon, and a little bit of money left over by Kim not being here. And also, they're mildly overwhelmed, so we have another resource if we need it, without spending an extra money, with the 2 people at Lankin Tully that are code enforcement officers. I wanted Bruce to meet them, and he did. The Vehicle Department's vehicle is a 2008 Equinox with 77,000 miles on it. I guess it overheated on the assessor like for about the 10th time last week. So it's too early to get rid of it with 77,000 miles. I think they're putting a radiator into it and doing what they can to make it so that it's drivable without breaking down. And last year, in order to meet the cap, we zeroed any money, any reserve fund for a vehicle for that department. We're gonna look at that at budget time, because I don't think that vehicle has 2 more years left in it. There were 11 permit applications received, 15 were issued, 9 certificates of occupancy were issued, 23 building permit inspections, 17 fire inspections, 41 advisory violation notices, 21 notices were completed, 11 municipal searches, 1 zoning variance applications was received, 7 FOIL requests, 102 total physical inspections by the building department in the month of June. Sewer. On the 11th of July, we had our annual inspection. I know that you were down there, Bob, for that. There's no final report yet. The day before they came, we had a little problem with something down there that I wanted Robert Held, who runs the plant, wanted me to sit here tonight and thank Pat Patterson, the DPW, for going down the day before and rectifying what they needed to do. And Pat wanted me to take it further and thank Highland Falls. I guess they borrow equipment once in a while. He borrowed a compressor from the village, got it all done, so I hope our inspection comes out with flying colors when they finally give us the report on it. For the month of June, there were 4.8 inches of rain. The average flow per day at that plant was 83,000 gallons per day, which is 70% capacity. We had a meeting, the same meeting where the building department was there with Lankin Tully on the inspection of the sewer, the first phase that we've done. We know of some areas where there's situations, and we're going to be addressing them. And I'll just say to people out there, if you're pumping the water from your cellar in the sewer, stop, because it's overwhelming the plant, and we're gonna catch up with people. And on the dechlorination, I guess we're gonna discuss that later for putting it out to bid again? Okay. And just on a nice note, it was an absolute pleasure. I'm not a Mine Dock Park member. I haven't done a lot down there. I don't want to take any credit from anybody, and I don't know everybody involved. But Tierney's dad, who's my lifelong friend, invited me down on the hottest day of the year to weld with, what's the gentleman's name? Alex Gelatry or something like that. I guess his father was a tugboat captain and had something to do with 9/11, and the flagpole and those props were dedicated from his boat, if I'm not mistaken. Steven Sorms was down there. I believe Steven's playing down there this Saturday night. It was an absolute pleasure to be involved, and it's a nice place, and my applause to anybody involved, and that's it.
Thank you.
Mine Dock Park.
Storms played down there.
Okay, you mentioned Lincoln Tully, our new engineers. I brought them down to the ambulance building. What most people don't know is our ambulances are specially made to fit into the ambulance, which of course costs more money instead of getting a stock ambulance. So what I had them looking at is the feasibility and the cost of making the doors higher and the beam across the top higher. We got, Chris Burns brought me the original blueprints of the place, so I passed them on to Lincoln Tully, and rather than buying a specially made ambulance, I want to take a look at the cost of bringing the doors higher and the actual possibility of putting a second story on the building, which apparently when the building was made or built, it was made to handle a second story. So we'll see where that goes. But that's not for this year, that's for next year, but we're looking hard at next year.
Well, that would be a very good capital project. I mean, everything costs money, so we'd have to look at that. But both occupants of that building at the moment desperately need more room.
Okay, you may or may not know, but we put a bid out for a dechlorination project at the sewer plant. We received no bids. Actually, one person was here and didn't want to open the bid because she was afraid that a single bid would be turned down and then everybody would know her price. So we put it out for rebid again. I think it's in the paper now, right, June? The record cost us almost $1,000 for the bid to go into the record. So we went to our local paper, and we also have it online, and we also have our engineer for the project going to spread it into companies that he knows about. So they're going to have a site meeting on August the 6th. So we'll see what happens at that point in time. Personally, right now the contractors have all the work they want to do. And we're not, I think we're not getting a good bid because they don't really care about this project that is maybe $200,000-300,000. So if we get bad bids again, if there are too high of bids again, I think we might look at letting it go till the winter time. See what happens then. Because we do have a good period of time that we need to get the project done. For this project, we are getting what would you call it, a grant through the state of New York, sponsored by Senator, Assemblyman Skoufis, now Senator Skoufis, and the DASNY would like us to do a resolution on CEQA designation and determination. So the Town of Highlands Town Board that does determine that the project is a Type 2 action under Part 617 of the general regulations adopted pursuant to the Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law.
That's it.
That's it. That's the most important part of it.
That's all of
Okay.
it, sir.
So I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution for with that designation.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Gonza?
Aye.
Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye. Okay, Fort Montgomery parking regulations. I asked Justin to do up some parking regulations to regulate parking in our three town, actually, we have one town-owned park, that's the 9/11 Park. The Mine Dock Park is a park managed by the town. Brooks's Lake Park is a town park managed by the town. And then we have the town property across from the post office in Fort Montgomery. So mostly that property next door to my place is getting abused. We have people that are illegally, well, you can't say illegally, because there's no reason why they can't park a tractor trailer, a boat. One guy wanted to put his camper in there. So I decided we need some kind of regulations where the parking can be used as a municipal parking lot, which is much needed in Fort Montgomery. And, but we need, if we're gonna have the police take care of policing it, they need some teeth to go by. You just can't say you're not allowed to park here. Justin, I sent you the one from 2015,
That's correct.
and that looks like it's better than the one you proposed.
Well, I might argue that, but it was absolutely sufficient, and I'm sorry I couldn't remember it.
Okay, but we didn't pass it, that's the strange thing.
Oh,
Yeah, huh? Right, we tabled it. Why we tabled it, I don't know, and why we didn't bring it back out again, I don't know.
I can't answer that either.
So-
But that resolution, I didn't redistribute that resolution. I don't know if you did to the board or not. But that was sufficient for the purposes of creating reasonable rules for particularly that lot, but any other town-owned property that you wanted to avail itself of parking regulations.
When was that original?
2015.
2015, yeah.
Okay. Maybe they were still talking about the community center for the comprehensive plan there. I'm just guessing why they might have
Yeah.
tabled it.
I don't know. So anyway, what I'm going to ask is I'd like to table this until our next meeting so Justin can look at both of them and
Okay.
put them together in a proper resolution. Do I have
Certainly.
Do I have a second to table?
A second.
Second. Sorry.
And then maybe give us a copy? That would be good, so we know what you're
I
talking
think
about?
that's,
Oh, yeah.
that's the starting spot, yes.
Okay.
Mine Dock Park update. Richie just touched on it. Down at Mine Dock Park, if you go down that way, you'll see two great big propellers on either side of the flagpole.
You see him?
So the committee is very active so far this year. There's some history to the propellers. They come off a tugboat that was used to transfer people from New York to Jersey after 9/11. So it's a nice little history to the propellers. They belong to Alec Whitney, I think you pronounce his name, his father, who is the flagpole was donated in memory of his father, who passed away on his tugboat on the Hudson River. So I'm going to get this history put together and do a little ceremony, if you will, once we get that cleaned up and straightened out. The Mine Dock Park Committee meets the first Saturday of the month at 10 p.m. down at Mine Dock Park. If anybody would like to come down and help out and make suggestions and what have you, we would certainly appreciate it, and we need your help. They're talking about building a pavilion the size of the pavilion that's at Brooks's Lake Park. That handles about 50 people. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that, but we need everybody's ideas to come in.
What time again?
on the first Saturday of the month at 10 o'clock in the morning at the park. Yeah, June or MJ, can you remember, is it this Sunday that they're having Stephen Storms down there again?
Saturday evening, I think. Richie, right, Saturday evening?
With Steven?
Yeah.
He said he'd be playing this Saturday evening, I think 6 or 6:30.
Yes.
That's purely anecdotal from what he told me Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
So that'll be down at Mindock Park, music at the park, and I think the hot dog truck is down there, and they have beverages for sale and what have you.
6 or 6:30, I forget which.
So anyway, that's Mindock Park. Chief, I have this MOU that I don't see where any supervisor has signed it. If you could, come on up, and if you could explain the MOU, and the board, I'm sure, will give you permission to sign off.
Basically, I met with the director of the Intel Center, which is located in Goshen. It's run by Eric Johansson, who's a retired police chief. The Intel Center in this area is supported by the Department of Criminal Justice Services. It services Orange, Ulster, and Dutchess. The Intel Center is staffed by full-time employees and other police officers that give so much time there from some of the bigger departments. And the understanding is that any information that we gather in our database through Impact, which is our record-keeping management system, they're able to access. In return, if we need something, we're doing an investigation, the Intel Center will in turn give it to us. So it's information sharing amongst the departments. We don't have a lot of long-term or wide investigations here. Our major investigations are turned over to the state police, but there could come a time that information in our database from investigations that we have or people interact with would go to the Intel Center. So the understanding is that we would exchange information back and forth.
There's no cost to this?
No,
or
sir,
dollars-
nothing.
dollars and cents. So if the board understands what the chief is talking about, can we give him permission to sign off on the MOU?
I'll make a motion that we have the chief sign the agreement number 41-1 of the Hudson Valley Crime Analysis Center Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. So, Chief,
Thank you, sir.
do you have a copy of this? Or? Oh, you do? And then I'll hold on to it. And when you get the fully executed copy, then let June have it so
Yes,
she
sir.
can file it away. You have anything else for us?
Quickly, our second round of Phase 2 candidates are on patrol tonight. They have to do 160 hours. We have no open spots. We have a waiting list now for employees, so any applications we get now, we just put them by when we receive them. Our first round, as I reported last meeting, they're on patrol, doing a great job, and they will be taking part in National Night Out with the village, so we'll have our representation on August 6th up in National Night Out as well. Other than that, all quiet.
I have to say, Chief, we have quite a number of young, new, first-time police officers now who are doing a very good job, even though they've just started. I'm saying they're doing a very good job. And a lot of that is thanks to you for putting in the extra hours that you put in to come out and make sure their training is completed.
Well, we have some good FTOs as well, but thank you. But I think everybody, our 160-hour folks have to be trained by certified FTOs. That's the only way the Department of Criminal Justice recognizes them. But the other officers who can't ride with them, you know, we'll take the time to speak to them about certain areas in the town and certain areas on patrol. And if they have something that's going on, they'll call the FTO car, as we call it, and they'll let them interact as well. So I think it's a group thing. Everybody's given a few areas that they, specialize in for their new folks.
Right, and I'm quite aware that your other FTOs are doing their job, but I also know that you put in some very strange hours to make sure those young people
I haven't
have
worked
all the
midnights in a
training
long
they
time.
need.
Yeah, so FTO standing for Field Training
Field
Officer?
training officer, yes, sir.
Yeah, so absolutely, I caveat with my colleague, Councilwoman Gunza, that certainly the systems that you have in place are working, but the extra supervision, if you will, is I think a key component to getting to the professionalism that we're looking for. So keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Kelly, do you have anything? Yeah, why don't you talk about your
The budget,
budget hours? Yep, your budget.
Isn't there also a memo that Kelly, a resolution that Kelly
Yes.
needs?
For the workers' comp,
Comp.
there's a resolution that just,
Okay, I don't have it.
I think I emailed it.
Do you want me to bring it up for you? I have it on my
I have a
email.
hard copy of it.
Well, you got a copy there, right, Jim? This is, let me just borrow it. Okay,
Yeah, I
we'll-
copied,
We'll
yeah.
get to it.
It was off of an email that I think you sent it out on, or no, Justin sent it out. The resolution.
No, no,
Kelly did?
yep,
Oh,
controller.
okay.
Kelly
Sorry.
always accuses me of not opening mail that says Kelly on it, but that's not true.
Case
But,
in point.
all right,
So I sent everyone the proposed calendar for the budget meetings. I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at it.
okay, where you have holiday, no meeting, are you suggesting we meet with budget on that day?
So, where's my email? Originally, I thought we wouldn't meet on that day, but then June responded to my email that she thought maybe we should have a meeting that day so that we have enough meetings.
Right, I responded and said, can we do it all in the number of meetings minus the holidays? Because I know last year, and even the year before, some of the departments took up a whole
Right,
meeting.
exactly.
And we were scrambling towards the end. So
Yes.
if the board so chooses, we could meet on a different day, whether it's one of the holidays or a Saturday morning, or not at all if you want to stay really late, because I always have lots of questions.
I think it would be a good idea if we kept the meeting in there on the 14th. And then if we finish early, then we don't have the last meeting. You know, I think better to have too many scheduled than not enough.
Does
So that would
anybody
be
on the
Monday
board
the-
have a problem meeting on Columbus Day?
It's not a holiday for my union anymore, so what's the difference?
You're not union here, I know, so, okay. Yes,
And then last year, we started most of our meetings at 6 PM, so I would propose we do the same this year. Now, that holiday meeting, I don't know if it changes because it's a holiday, if you want to meet earlier in the day, or, I don't know
I
what
think 6
everybody's
is
work
fine.
schedule
I
is.
won't be off
six
that
is fine.
day.
Nobody-
You won't be
I
off
won't
that
be
day.
off.
So we'll keep it at 6 then on that evening.
Okay, so far this is good, and the 14th we'll do a budget meeting.
I'll send out the whole calendar with the deadline for the public hearing and when it has to be adopted by. So now that we have the meeting schedule, I'll send that out.
Good.
And we'll do what we did last year, where I'll get all the departments and put them all together so you have one big package to look at prior to the budget meeting starting. Instead of each individual one, you'll have the whole.
Yeah, it worked much better that way. That
Yeah.
way we knew the total that we were working with and how hard we had to work to,
Now, the tentative
Reduce
budget
it
is
a
due
little.
September 30th, but we're going to have our first meeting on the 30th, so I'll have the tentative budget to you earlier than that. So that bumps it up a little bit in the front end.
actually, you did give us dates, not just budget dates, but
I
the other
did,
dates.
in
But
the email.
Yeah.
So I'll just finalize it all and then send it out again.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so that's that. And then I have the resolution for the workman's comp, which,
I have a motion a resolution to authorize membership in the New York State Municipal Workers Compensation Alliance. That's the new comp company that we've gotten.
right, they just need a resolution memorializing it.
So I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution.
Motion.
I'll second the motion because I believe Councilman King just made the motion.
Yes, okay.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Gonza?
Aye.
Supervisor Lipson?
All right, under general business, I have a resolution, we had this last meeting, and we decided to let Justin go over it, climate smart community.
Sure, climate smart communities. This was something, I believe, that was originally brought to the board's attention from the new environmental committee you have. It's, in essence, a New York State program where a community has to indicate a pledge to certain standards. They're aspirational standards, they're there's no teeth, so to speak. But if you are not part of the Climate Smart Communities program, then certain grant funding wouldn't be available to you. So currently, it's a fine concept. I don't know if down the road the state starts implementing certain requirements related to it to then continue in the program. At this point, again, there's aspirational standards on, in essence, cleaning up your community and being more aware of the environmental impacts of governance. So it's fairly straightforward. I think it was distributed a couple times. It's a good program. Your neighboring municipality passed the same resolution about a year and a half ago.
Okay, the resolution contains, it is hereby resolved that the town of Highlands, in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to a changing climate, adopts the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, which comprises the following 10 elements. Build a climate smart community. Inventory emissions, set goals, and plan for climate action. Decrease energy use. Shift to clean renewable energy. Use climate smart materials management. Implement climate smart land use. Enhance community resilience to climate change. Support a green innovation economy. Inform and inspire the public. Engage in an involving process of climate action. I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
No. Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
All right.
Councilmember Gonza?
Aye.
Supervisor Lipsy?
Aye.
I'd like to thank Olga, because the committee's new, a lot of hard work going into it. There's a member from West Point, she's a professor up there, that has a group of cadets that would be happy to come as a project and do our carbon footprint, I guess you refer to it and whatnot, and work with us on that, so I'm looking forward to it.
I think the professor's sitting out there?
No,
No?
not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay, that was her partner, not our friend that was here the last meeting, okay. And I want to thank Olga for the amount of work that she's putting in things. She brings me a packet, snows on top of me on everything that needs to be done, can be done, and you may be disappointed when I say this tonight, Olga, but as far as getting a grant by Friday, get an application for a grant, I don't see that happening, but
I'm 1/3 of the way through writing the grant.
if you've got it done by Friday, God bless you.
I wonder, do you have the resolution allowing us to pursue the grant? Because that's essential. I forward that.
I don't have it.
Yeah, the part of what we need to submit with the grant request is a resolution indicating that the board has approved are actually going forward with it. And there's a 50% match required, which in my preliminary budget, I have matched it completely with volunteer and intern hours, interns being the West Point students.
Okay, and the grant is for what?
Okay, the grant is to create a roadmap to set the baseline for us to eventually be able to develop a comprehensive smart growth plan. So right now, we really need to measure where we are so that we can create a roadmap to where we want to be as a clean energy community. So it's really doing assessments, developing a community engagement strategy, looking at areas throughout the town of Highlands where we can optimize our management of facilities, waste management, energy usage, things like that. So really doing a thorough current state assessment on operations.
Okay, now, since the grant involves money, okay, who do you plan or think can be doing this roadmap?
I have been speaking with a consulting firm that is doing the exact same thing in the town of Haverstraw.
Okay.
So they're working with me to provide a scoping document and a preliminary budget, which we can submit in the grant application. And then once we get the funding, then we work out, any contracts and finalize the work plan.
Do you have an example of the resolution that you need?
Yep, I submitted it.
You did.
Yeah, and I can do it again. And I don't think I brought a copy of that resolution with me, but,
Olga and I spoke this afternoon. I don't know if she met with you, when she met with you last week, if she circulated then. I have a hard copy of it, if anybody would like to look at them. I printed them out before I came.
Well, I
I
believe,
mean,
yeah,
okay,
so I
I mean,
believe the
so-
issue is.
Generic,
No,
and
no,
it hasn't
that's
been
fine.
reviewed.
No, I don't have an issue. They need to see it, because if you're going to pass a resolution tonight, you need
Yeah, you
to
need-
read it first.
right, you need to read it.
I made copies for everybody before I came up.
It's a-
Olga, make sure I have the right thing here, okay?
Authorizing application for New York State Climate Smart Communities grant. Yeah. It just authorizes, gives me permission to go ahead and submit the grant
So it's-
application and
It's similar under other New York State grant funding programs. You've passed these resolutions before. And they're pretty basic, and as Sanderson said, unless and until there is funding, you're not obligated to go forward. You're not, and the match that we're speaking to is really labor and work and hours.
Right.
It's not going to be the funding component, I assume.
yeah,
that
there's no funding requirements from the town to pursue this.
Okay, so can we pass this resolution tonight, and you can put it into a proper form?
How much is the grant that you're asking for?
Well, right now, I'm thinking the grant portion of it would be around $35,000, which is not inconsistent with what I've seen other communities be awarded for similar work effort.
And that 35,000, half of that would be the responsibility of...
No, that's the grant money, and then we would have...
So you're looking for $70,000,
Well, that would be the total cost.
right, and half of that would be either in labor or cash.
Volunteer hours, intern hours,
Fine. I told Olga during Army football games this fall, the town board's gonna be a 9W with buckets trying to meet the budget, so.
yeah, I know that, so I worked on a budget that will not require, that we're going to do a lot of the work.
What's the grant for?
Okay, the grant is to pursue a clean energy program for the town of Highlands.
The grant's to produce a roadmap to have a baseline, so as they continue to do projects moving forward, they have their baseline and can obtain their objectives from there.
The complete objective
It's a study.
is to develop a comprehensive action plan for the town to go clean energy. Which I may add, if you paid attention to what came out of the last session, there is a very prominent climate bill that was just signed by Governor Cuomo. It's a Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. It is really, we are the first state really to pass such a comprehensive act to really clean up emissions and switch to green energy. I have a feeling that over the next number of years, things considered now to be optional or voluntary actions may turn into mandatory actions as the state tries to meet very aggressive emissions goals.
Right, so I'd agree with that, but so one of the issues that you're raising is that, right, so now we're going from talking about a study to have a baseline, right, to fairly big policy issues. Right?
Eventually.
I understand, but you're talking about them, right? And so this is all related to it, and we understand that there's a deadline, and I think the board's understanding of that, right? But so this information really has to come to the board sooner in most instances, so that they can process this information and pass a resolution so they're comfortable that they've done their diligence on behalf of the town, understand what they're obligating themselves to. Having said all that.
Questions?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, you do this for most grant applications. This is the basic process. You're not obligating yourself but to put in an application for basically the roadmap, right? Everything else would fall on top of that roadmap because until you really understand your baseline and how to move forward,
And
right?
the grant may or may not be approved.
Oh, absolutely.
That's correct.
Right.
But before we even get to that point of approved or not approved, we should really completely understand what we're agreeing to.
Correct.
Can I say a few things about green
Sure,
stuff?
sure.
Yeah, well, first, I was a little confused about what's gonna cost $70,000. But I think one thing to watch out for with the roadmap, this is an issue that I've studied a little bit, is some things that are called green are not really green. So just as there's some fraud with the organic label or the kosher label, you can assume that that's going to happen with the green label. Some specific examples that come to mind are, for example, wind energy. Yes, it may be quote-unquote more green, but it also has a negative environmental externality of infrasound. Now, President Trump mentioned a problem with windmills, and he got pilloried for saying it gives people cancer, but infrasound does give people sleep problems, heart rate changes, and affects their heart. And if you're not sleeping for an extended period of time, certainly other things can happen from that, and that's, I think, what he was talking about. With solar energy, there's an expert in Wisconsin named Dave Stetzer who advocates for filtering it properly. If it isn't filtered properly, it creates line pollution on the line, which is a problem that people don't understand very well, but it is a problem nonetheless. So I think any sort of form of solar, that one should consider that. With electric cars, which seems to be the way we're going, the battery for now, at least on a Prius, is in the back seat. The electromagnetic fields generated by the battery are higher than levels that are linked with childhood leukemia. So, I think we need to be thinking about that when we're talking about electric cars and whether that's the best way to go. And the fourth thing that just comes to mind right off the bat is smart metering. I've been suing the Public Service Commission. I just filed my second lawsuit against them this last week. There's a lot of fraud with smart metering. The Attorneys General of Kentucky and Virginia just got the entire program scrapped with their briefs to their public service commissions because there's a lot of fraud that it in fact does not reduce greenhouse gases. And there's other problems with it as well in terms of the fact that it doesn't do what it says it's going to do, which is get information to people to meaningfully change their electric use. So I would just urge that whatever we're doing going forward, that we consider all of these issues and that they be addressed in any report, going forward on quote-unquote greening the town or being smart or whatever the buzzword is now.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Catherine Goodland. And I just want to say, Olga, I'm very impressed by your preparation. And it's a grant for a study to do an assessment. You were very clear about that. And we have to do something. So I think you bring up very good points that are something to be done once we've done an assessment and a study and we're making those decisions. But, our time is limited. You can see it around us right now. We've got to do something. And so I just wanted to say positively, and, I will give you money for that other $30,000. No, I will.
I'll talk to you
I
later.
absolutely will, and I'd like to be on your committee. Okay, so I just want to speak on the positive side, and I think you bring up good points. We're still early, we're learning about green energy, we're learning about the drawbacks. The problem with solar is that fossil fuels are the backup for solar. But if you look at the air quality in Fort Montgomery, we had air quality problems the other day, and it's created by all the emissions around us. So we could do pros and cons for a long time, but I think having a study I don't really see what the drawback of that is.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing? Just from a standpoint of what he said, it seems to pass a motion before there's any due diligence. It seems like the appropriate thing to do, so, I mean,
Okay, what I think I'll do is, I'll call for a meeting this coming Wednesday, 9 o'clock in the morning, my office. Justin will put together a proper resolution, and we'll vote on it then.
Let me make one comment. Sure. If I could. So if I understand this correctly, Ms. Ogle there is on a committee currently.
She's the chair.
She's the chair of the committee currently, that we've already sanctioned, and that meets regularly, and that you meet with as well,
Once a month.
current board member. And so as a result of these meetings and discussions, you've now come forward to say, we want to do a study, and the grant is available or is out there for us to pursue to do the study, but we have a timeline that we have to meet to be able to move forward. And so I just want to make sure it's clear to the public that this person didn't just walk in today and pull this out of the sky. They've already been discussing, and we've had a board member a part of those meetings. And so Wednesday, I'm looking forward to being there.
Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Okay. Justin, you'll have the resolution for us.
I'll have the resolution.
And it'll just be a simple 1-minute meeting to either approve or not approve the resolution, okay? Other business. Tonight, we interviewed a candidate for building inspector. Is that the title it would be, Kelly?
Yes.
Building inspector, part-time.
Part-time code enforcement officer.
Code enforcement, okay. And Rich, would you like to provide his name and
Okay.
position?
So I had the pleasure, last week I met with Bruce and interviewed our candidate, Mr. Philip Hannawalt, and after that interview, recommended him to the board. He came before the board tonight. It'll be a part-time position. He's aware that sometimes you can't enjoy a cup of coffee locally after you've just given somebody an advisory notice. I think he'll be ready to hit the ground running, and I think we have a good candidate.
Okay, so I'll ask for a motion to appoint, to hire Philip Hannawalt at an hourly wage of $23 an hour, part-time, beginning as soon as possible.
I think August 1st was the date Bruce had mentioned.
August, okay, excellent. August the 1st. Do I have a motion to?
So,
Motion.
and that's provisional, right? Pending the outcome of the Orange County.
His test, yes.
Yes.
It'll be provisional. It'll also be, let's call it, what am I trying to say?
Probation.
Probationary period?
Probation. And
I'll make-
probation will be indefinite until he becomes full-time, and then that the probation would be for a year. So,
I'll be happy to make that motion.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so carried. Now, the next thing on the agenda, and the last thing on the agenda, is the, I'm going to have Justin kind of explain this a little bit.
Okay.
This is the Energy Services Program Master Cost Recovery Agreement between the Power Authority of the State of New York and the town of Highlands. That has all to do with LED lighting in the town outside the village. This is a 27-page boilerplate contract that contracts us to nothing other than to start looking.
Right, so the New York Power Authority uses a format by which they have a master cost recovery agreement for any or all projects that you enter into with the New York Power Authority. That is their starting point, and it does cover a lot of the typical legalese, indemnification issues, who pays for what, how do we contract, who do we use, what are the terms of that, in a general sense. It covers that in the 27 pages plus the addendums. What it really gets to, or what the concern is for the board and the public, is It then allows for a contract, which they call a customer project commitment or a CPC, right? That talks about any particular type of project that you want to engage the New York Power Authority to do, and that would have the particulars in this instance of LED lighting or the LED lighting. So this document does not contain those specific terms. This document contains larger terms that would apply to any contract or that LED contract, but it doesn't go through the pricing mechanism, it doesn't go into the type of lights you will be using, it doesn't go into the ability to change out lights, it doesn't speak to those terms, it's just the general overriding contract on how we pay for things when we contract with the New York Power Authority. So it's a starting point. Till you have this, they won't negotiate any individual customer project commitment.
Okay, would the board like to move on this?
I think that there's some comments we'd like to make about it. I just saw this contract for the first time today.
Would the board like to move on this?
I would.
Yes.
So I'll ask for a motion to allow the supervisor to sign the contract.
I think a few of us would like to speak about why you shouldn't sign the contract now.
I'm sorry, but we are going to sign this contract
You
tonight.
pulled a fast one with everyone, Bob. You didn't put it
You're
as
out
an
of
agenda.
order.
You didn't
You're
put it
out
as
of
an-
order.
You didn't put it
Be
as an
quiet.
agenda item, and then you say we can talk about it after you've signed it, and that usually you have public comment at the beginning.
I hear
It
you
wasn't
loud
on
and
the
clear. I
agenda.
hear you loud and clear.
Well, you
I
hear
heard
us,
your
but
expert, I heard you, and I heard enough.
No, you haven't heard enough, because there are things in the
I'll ask for a
contract that are
motion
a
to
problem.
allow
There are
supervisor to
things in
sign
the
the
contract
contract.
that are a problem, where you have
Motion.
all of these fees locked in, and so the
Second.
town has
All
not
in
been honest
favor?
with people
Aye.
about how much
So
it's gonna
carried.
cost if you go ahead. And nobody wants the NIPA light. NIPA is not offering a light that most of us want to see.
What they're offering.
Because I called them and spoke to them, Olga.
They are going to do a pilot study, which we haven't even initiated yet.
Olga, they do not offer any kind of light that most of the people that I've talked to wish to see. They have very limited options. I spoke to Jesse Stott. I spoke to the people there. He sent me some information, and they have very limited options, and they do not give things that are available in other communities and other states.
Do we need an executive session for something?
To discuss perhaps some sewers was all.
With the Corbin?
Corbin.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session to talk about the attorney's views on a sewer problem.
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. We will not be coming back after the executive session.